So as I was saying that one point of actually clearly differentiating us Dalit women from women from other castes is this system of Devdasi dedication, whether it's called Jogini or Basvi or Matama, or different names, but ultimately it is Dalit women who are end up as Devdasi. Now, this Devdasi system is not something new. This has been going on for long, many years, and very systematically, very cunningly, entwined within this whole religious beliefs, so-called culture, and traditions, but very much deeply rooted and entrenched in caste and patriarchy. What happens is young girls are dedicated, so-called, in the sense that it's like a marriage performed, and typically married to the whatever god, but it's like somebody from the village, sometimes the sarpanch, sometimes some other dominant caste man, or whoever else ties that tali, and from then on she's dedicated. She cannot obviously get married. She can have children, but these children will be considered as illegitimate. um, and basically leading a life of misery without any source of livelihood. She is also then free to be used for sex. Now sometimes it could be like one partner for long years, or it could be a multiple partner as well. That's how it has been. It has been for so long. Now it's again changing. The old traditional system is also changing again now, very clearly linked with the whole network of traffickers, all the agents. They're also using this system as a guise for trafficking young girls who ultimately end up in the brothels, whether it's Pune, Bombay, Goa, all these big cities. So that's one thing. So it's very prevalent in parts of North Karnataka, Belgaum, Bijapur, Bagalkot, that whole area, and in districts of Andhra Pradesh, where they are mostly called as Joginis. It's also prevalent in Maharashtra, again the border areas, Sangli, Kolhapur, Solapur, that area. Also in parts of Tamil Nadu, and also apparently in some parts of Orissa also. But see, ultimately, what is happening is that these women and the children completely stripped of any. There's no sense of human rights or dignity for them. Different state governments are offering different, I don't know, rehabilitation schemes. Karnataka is giving a pension of 400 rupees to these women. Some of them giving them some bank loans. They had also promised to give land. Wherever they have got land, they have got the most barren land which they cannot do anything with, and some scholarships for the children. So these kind of, again, the same government typical mindset of giving some sort of arms to them, and in the whole so-called rehabilitation package. But ultimately, see, yesterday we were at this public hearing where we, as members of the jury, we heard few cases, and see, we are saying this is an age old thing and everything, but we had girls who were 11 years old, 12, 14-year-old girls who were coming and deposing before the jury, saying that they were dedicated, they are not in school, and they are married, so-called married. And it was like, what kind of a society are we living in, or what is this, that such young girls coming and sharing their story. All of them had matted hair, that matted hair, thick hair. All of them wearing all these beads and all these symbols of being married. None of them had studied more than fifth standard. None of them have, all of them were only asking for a house. All of them were asking for some pension. All of them were asking for some job. That is what the demands of these women are. And I don't know, like, how the so-called highly evolved civil society in India, whether it is the Dalit movements, whether it is the women's movements, can ever exist in this country, when even now till today these girls are just used as sex slaves in the name of this whole Devdasi or Jogini system. We had cases of women who were so badly abused, and like at least 100 cut marks on their bodies, because they chose to resist these overtures by other men on them. There were cases of attempt to murder, there were cases of abuse, there were cases where the children were not admitted to the school because they don't have the name of the father. And different kinds of humiliation. They were in one of the woman came and she said, like, the district officer was abusing her, like, you Madiga prostitute, get out from here, when she went to ask for some of the schemes which the government was giving. So in like humiliation and making them to lead such kind of a life, it is totally inexcusable that in a country that is talking about all these big things, and then till today the condition is like this. Some of these things, we picked out the laws. In Andhra, for example, it's a 24 years old act, Devdasi Prevention Dedication Act. 24 years have passed, and there is obviously no conviction. The state rules have still not yet been framed in the state of Andhra Pradesh. So such is the level of impunity, and such is the level of cruelty which continues from time immemorial to now into different forms. But ultimately it is the Dalit woman. No other woman, I want to say, no other caste woman. You will not find a single Brahmin woman who is dedicated as a Devdasi, for example. In some places, there are few numbers, very rare, very few numbers of other little lower caste groups where some women you will find. But otherwise, this is a practice which is clearly meant to subjugate and literally kill Dalit women by using them in this manner. And today the consultation is going on here. Again, we've been sharing these different approaches from the different states, what has worked, what has not worked, and also to try and see how we take this issue forward at a national level advocacy.
One thing is, okay, let me put it like this. This Devadasi system is widely addressed by NGOs, at least in AP. NGOs, not at the beginning there were movements, but now it is fully NGOs which is monitoring and doing things. 1980s there was, during NTR there was some kind of a movement where Dalits did. Therefore, there is a proverb, a famous on NGO there was a proverb. I want you to comment on that, because based on this Devadasi system, when there is so much of atrocious behaviors or attitudes towards Devadasi, and NGOs are there, so I want to just ask Indian, especially Dalit NGOs. There was a famous NGO that slogan that if there is, for example, if there is a NGO for poverty reduction, their duty is not to reduce poverty. If they reduce the poverty, then there won't be NGO. So that if the NGO has to survive, there should be a poverty. So that in this Devdasi system, how do you see this NGOs work on that? Because like Anna Hazare, there are various NGOs like Subal, Shulab, these upper caste NGOs. They are really changing the society. But Dalit NGOs are...
They are changing the society. See, both you and me are aware of this long-standing debate between the movement and different NGOs. But let me make it very clear. Particularly in this case of Devdasi, I will say my experience from two states. Take Karnataka, the Dalit Sangharsh Samiti, 70s, 80s, and even early 90s. uh, raised this issue very strongly on the Devdasi issue and naked parading of Dalit women and also violence against Dalit women. At that time the movement was very strongly rooted in taking this thing out and throwing it out of our society. I told you last time also, in some of the cadres, Dalit Sangharsh Samiti cadres, they were even encouraged to marry the Devdasi women and give them another life. Yeah, so that they should not end up like this. There was a call given to the cadres by the leaders that time that they should marry. That was their idea or their funda of rehabilitating them by marrying them. That's a different debate. But definitely, then after which the laws have come into place. No, these Devdasi prevention, dedication prevention, all those came out because of the noise made by the movements at that time. Yeah, Ambedkarite movements, Dalit movements. Maharashtra also, Dalit Panther and other Ambedkarite groups raised this issue and made a noise about it, made it a public debate. Then only these laws came into place, no, at that point in time. But what has happened now? What has happened now is that I don't know. Nobody's talking. Nobody's talking about this. There is no strong political voice from the movements to discuss about or what should be done for this. I don't think it's a big deal for this number of women. Today, somebody was quoting 2 lakh women in Karnataka, with some few other thousands in Andhra Pradesh. What is preventing us from ensuring that no other girl is dedicated as Devdasi? What are the steps to be taken, and why the movement is sitting quietly on this? It's a big shame, and it is absolutely unexcusable when we say we have such a highly evolved movement, we have a highly evolved women's movement in India, and then why today nobody is saying anything about girls who are even now being dedicated, who are still walking around with all those symbols of being married with matted hair and not going to school. Right to education, absolutely no meaning. Child rights groups are sitting quietly, commissions are sitting quietly, the entire state machinery is just simply sitting and talking about rehabilitation, giving some scheme and some 400 rupees. I mean, like ridiculous things they're doing. What has happened, Ravi, is that the NGOs, I guess they came into picture because they had to start monitoring this rehabilitation schemes. Pension 400 rupees, they'll make a survey, did the money come, did the money not come. They were supposed to get houses under the Ashray scheme, did they get the scheme or not, did they get the loan or not, do they have the certificates, do they have the security for getting the bank loan. That is that the NGOs probably came in for monitoring, and then the movements have just remained silent, talking about land issues, talking about lots of other so-called critical political issues. Perhaps there's no political will to talk about why Dalit women are continue to be treated as objects of for sexual exploitation. And really it is no excuse that today the movements of India, the social movements of India, do not raise this issue of girls continuing to be dedicated as Devdasis.